Jadaveon Clowney ended up at the Titans. You're talking about a deal that is worth $12 million up to $15 million. Ooh. And you have to remember, and this is the interesting thing about Jadaveon Clowney. Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports. Yes, Yahoo Sports
still exists.
Still exists.
Really?
Still happening.
Yep. Website.
Yahoo Sports, Charles Robinson, the website. It is, by the way, very nice website.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I don't know how much traffic they get, but it is a very nice website. And a man with a big brain from Yahoo Sports, Charles Robinson, he seems to have the inside source on Jadaveon Clowney. He told us that he thought it was going to be the Browns or the Titans. The Saints, I guess, got into it there at the very end and made something happen for him. But he said that Jadaveon Clowney is going to wait this thing out. He's going to wait until training camp is over. He is okay even turning down a $51 million offer from the Cleveland Browns, allegedly, just kind of pick and choose where he wanted to go. He's now getting in perfectly in line with a team that loves Jadaveon Clowney. Vrabel coached him a couple years ago whenever he was at the Houston Texans. They were like good friends, I guess. Vrabel, everybody knows, is a guy that his players love playing for him. He takes a massive pay cut to go to there instead of the Cleveland Browns. He misses all of training camp. Who knows what he's going to be making after this season? But the Tennessee Titans had the longest run into playoffs out of anybody in the AFC South. Now they get even better. They locked down Derrick Henry. They locked down Ryan Tannehill. They got Jadaveon Clowney. Are the Tennessee Titans a fucking problem now that they got Jadaveon Clowney? I think we have to ask that real question.
Oh, yeah.
Now, not that they weren't last year. I mean, Jadaveon, they were a pretty big weapon last year. They stopped the Baltimore Ravens. But this is a big-time play. And there's an alleged story that the Saints were attempting to have another team pick up Jadaveon Clowney for $15 million a year or something like that. Like $5 million signing bonus, $10 million salary. So they're going to have another team do that. Then they were going to trade the team for Jadaveon Clowney with a second-round draft pick and only have to pay him the $10 million. So that other team would essentially be paying $5 million for a second-round draft pick, which, I mean, if you look at it that way, not that terrible of a decision, but there comes a lot of trust in that. And the team that was allegedly going to do that with him, with the Saints, was the Cleveland Browns?
Yep, the Browns.
Where did you hear that information?
That was on CBS Sports, and that was right below that was talking about the next team, the Ravens and the Jags.
Okay, so they were allegedly going to have the Cleveland Browns sign Jadaveon Clowney for $15 million. Jadaveon Clowney allegedly turned down the Cleveland Browns' 3-year, $51 million offer. So the Saints were going to trust that, and Jadaveon Clowney was going to trust that the team that attempted to sign him for 3 years, $51 million, he said no to, was going to sign him for $15 million, $5 million signing bonus, $10 million salary. And then they were just going to say, yeah, cool, we'll go to the Saints because we'll take the second round. That's a lot of trust. I don't know if I would be able to do that. I guess the NFL said, no, you can't do that because now you're just buying basically draft picks, which we can't have happen. That can't set a precedent. So he ends up at the Titans with a deal up to $15 million because the Saints weren't going to be able to pay that, and the Browns were just going to trade it for the pick. But that's a very, very interesting. That type of shit doesn't happen in the NFL pretty often, I don't think, because nobody trusts anybody, especially that team. The Browns Saints, like, what is their connection, I wonder? That's a very interesting dynamic there.
Do you think they look at the Browns, and because I believe they have them and the Jags are the two teams with the most cap space, that's why they pick the Browns as the partner? Like, hey, we'll give you a draft pick for you take on $10 million in cap or $5 million in cap, whatever it is. But, like, your point, they wanted Clowney.
Yeah, bad. A 1-year deal, allegedly. Now, this is all shit that we've heard from Charles Robinson. Allegedly, a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, and a 3-year deal worth $17 to $18 million per, which is $51 million at the bottom of that. It could be, obviously, $54 million if you do the extra, $55 million, I guess, because an extra million every single time. But up to $55 million offer for him. And then, but we will sign you for 15, but then we're going to trade you for 10, and we'll keep the 5, and we'll carry the 2, and actually, we will carry the 2. It'll be a second-round draft pick. That's a very interesting. And by the way, if Andrew Berry is making these money moves and can set away his personal feelings at all from the Cleveland Browns guy from the Colts, he's like, all right, so what are you pitching us right here, Mickey Loomis? You want us to do what? Sign him $15 million because that's what he wants. He wants $15 million. Then you trade him to us. We pick up the salary. You pick up the signing bonus. You get a second-round draft pick. You'll take a $5 million second-round draft pick, right? Isn't that something you would take? Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Oh, fuck it. All right, let's do it. Go ahead and send it through. And Roger Goodell looks at this and goes, you sons of bitches! Taking advantage of the system. Can't do it.
And what stops the Browns from not trading Clowney when they have a bunch of cap space? And what worst-case scenario, Clowney sits out? And then it just fucked over the Saints.
And then what if they play good football and all of a sudden week 8, Jadaveon Clowney wants to play?
Yeah.
Like what if they're like potentially in the hunt and he's like, I see Myles Garrett there, and now he wants to get in there. Oh, we can. By the way, we can extend you exactly what we had before. That's what I'm saying. It takes a lot of trust to just be like, yeah, that team's going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to get our guy, and then that's going to happen. It's like, well, now you're relying on somebody who's competing against you. I mean, AFC, NFC, two different, I guess, conferences, but still in the ballpark of this with
realm.
a player that you wanted at one point. I mean, that is just that's a very interesting thing. And I like that people are making these types of moves, by the way.
I get if the Ravens were going to do it with the Jaguars, that makes a lot more sense because the Jaguars aren't trying to win. They're not going to try to keep Clowney because that might actually help them win games. But in the Browns, same situation, that's completely different.
That's a lot of trust.
Makes no sense. And if it was only on a 1-year deal, he'd want to prove it, so he would want to play
Right.
if he was in Cleveland.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.